Sometimes you just have to turn a blind eye towards streaks. You just have to close your ears and ignore all the talk that you're going to hear from gamblers, from handicappers, media types. And there's one game on today's card that I'm going to talk about, that I'm going to break down, where I'm just going to tell you why that is so important. Because sometimes you just have to look at the teams and compare their play coming into the games and forget about all that past history. Because sometimes, guys, history does not repeat itself. The other game I'm going to take a look at today, well, it's the Green Bay Packers at Cleveland. Is this a potential trap game for the Packers? Hi, everyone. Al DeMarco here, General Manager, DeMarcoSports.com. Of course, I won a perfect 3-0 with my NFL freebies last week, and the free picks, well, they've been pretty damn good, all things considered. 69 and 35 roll with the plays I've been giving away here on the video report. That's basketball and football combined. 69 and 35 roll. Now on Saturday here on the video report, I took a split, cashed in with Oklahoma, and I've got to tell you, in all my years doing this, I have never gotten a cover thanks to a safety at the end of the game. But there's a first time for everything. God bless you, Oklahoma, for sack number 10 in that game, getting Jackson Arnold with the safety at the end of the game as Oklahoma's 6.5-point chalk wins by 7. But as I always say, we lose games by the most bizarre fashion, right? And everybody remembers the losses. But I've always said that more often than not, we win those type of games rather than lose them. Over the long haul, we get more wins than losses, but the public, and I'm talking about you guys, you often remember the losses. They're the ones that are seared in your memory. But I'm telling you, we win more of those games than we lose. But again, I've never won one on the safety. And cashed in with my teaser, which I told you in yesterday's video that I really love, with Oklahoma and Miami of Florida. Unfortunately, East Carolina, for the first time this year, left me down as they got obliterated by BYU. And Baylor, lost there at the end, failed to get the job done against Arizona State. But still, 10-5-1 with the college freebies this season. But the more important play yesterday, well, guys, I did it again. My Saturday best bets in college football over the past 2 years, now 16-5. 16-5 with my best bets on Saturday, as I delivered with Virginia, a 16.5-point chalk, crushing Stanford by 28. That leads me to today's selection. It's top-rated 15-time best bet winner number 29 of 44, just as strong as Virginia. And I'm taking a look at the Broncos and Chargers game. It's once again the half-price play of the day, as I continue to prove to you that you don't have to spend big money to make big money. It's over at DeMarcoSports.com, and once again, the coupon code is very original. It's the word HALF, HALF. And again, it's just as strong as yesterday's winner on Virginia, as I look to continue my red-hot run, because I've won each of the past 5 days, and I'm going for winning day number 6 in a row with baseball and football combined. But more importantly, if you have never made a purchase or checked out DeMarcoSports.com, magically, you're seeing appearing at the bottom of the screen right now, you can get my best bet and the best bets of all the handicappers over at DeMarcoSports.com using the 2-day free all-access pass. If you've never been a customer before, check it out. You get all the plays of all the handicappers for free today and any other day you choose, maybe Monday, whatever. It could be next Thursday. It could be next Friday. It could be next Saturday. Normal cost today is $109. You get it for free if you've never been a customer before. We're using the 2-day free all-access pass over at DeMarcoSports.com. As usual, if you ever have any questions, you can always contact customer service. One quick thing before I get to today's plays. I've said to you many times over the last 20 years that I don't celebrate the wins, nor do I lament the losses, that you have to stay even keel. As a gambler, as a handicapper, a lot of guys in this business can't do it. They lose a game and they walk the plank. They're suicidal. They're on the ledge. And a lot of you guys are the same way. I just, win or lose, I'm the same way. Have to be honest, I wasn't always that guy. Cool, calm, and collected. I was not. And I've told the story once, maybe in recent years, but it's worth telling again. So my wife and I, it's going to be our 36th wedding anniversary. How she's put up with me for 36 years, God knows. And if you watch these videos, God knows. So that's coming up in a day or so. And listen, we got no chance for 50 because I'm not going to live that long. We got maybe doubtful for 45. Got a good chance for 40, though. Again, if she doesn't kill me. But on this day, for our 20th wedding anniversary, I had a big play on the Eagles, and they were playing a Sunday night game. Um, Go back 25, 26 years ago, I had a major surgery where they found a tumor in my stomach, and they thought it was cancerous, but I was very fortunate. It was just actually a tumor the size of my fist on the wall of my stomach. And after they did a major surgery and cut me from here all the way down there, they found out it was a benign tumor. So very, very, very lucky. So hey, I got leukemia all these years later. It evens out. Those are the odds. Those are the breaks, right? Um, but it left me very prone to getting what they call gastric bleeds, where you get internal bleeding, and I've been hospitalized a couple of times with it. So this particular time, I was living in the Philadelphia suburbs, and I noticed I got another gastric bleed, and this was pretty bad. And we were like 35 minutes away from the hospital where I originally had the surgery, where my surgeons and doctors were. So get in the car, and the Eagles were playing that Sunday night. So we get to the emergency room parking lot, and the game was right down there at the very edge. And I have my laptop in the car, and we're in the emergency room parking lot. And I tell my wife, it's like, okay, I'm feeling a little better. Let's just wait here until the game's done so I can update my site. So we wait in the game. I'm laying on my back, right? I'm updating the site. We get done. We go into the emergency room. They wheel me in. They put me in the little bed. They hook up the IV line. A couple of nurses come in. My wife is sitting there. House, that medical show is up on the TV. That should have been the first bad omen. All of a sudden, they go to get me up, and I know something's wrong. I feel this coldness coming over the body. I start feeling numb from my toes going up to my mid chest. And I remember telling my wife, tell my son that I told her I loved you, and tell my son that I love him too. Don't remember a damn thing. Other than suddenly somebody's straddling me, and that needle that they were ready to plunge into my heart that's a big ass needle. I got to tell you something. And I feel somebody else jabbing another line into my wrist because they're trying to pump fluids in me because I had coded. And there's got to be, I don't know, I think there were 9 people in the room screaming, yelling, doing their whole thing because I guess code blue, the whole thing, and going, I don't know, I was out. So yes, and then for the next 3 hours, I had to sit perfectly still as I did all these imaging tests. And of course, the next 5 days, I'm in intensive care. I think I was the only person awake in intensive care. And that Monday night, I'm sitting there in intensive care and I'm updating my website when the Chargers and the Jets were playing. Yes, I'm sick. And it taught me a very important lesson. Who the hell cares if you win the damn game? And from that point forward, I developed that let's not celebrate the wins or lament the losses anymore because the stupid Eagles almost cost me my life because I was sitting in the emergency room parking lot for a good 15, 20 minutes, worried about updating the stupid website, whether I won. Lesson learned. Okay, let's move on now to today's complimentary plays. Let's talk about that Jacksonville. You think I'm kidding? I couldn't make this crap up. Let's talk about the Jacksonville Houston game. My wife gets a laugh about this. She was not laughing that night, let me tell you. So that's how I spent by the way, my 20th wedding anniversary in the hospital for 2 weeks. Jacksonville is a 1.5 point favorite to Houston. Listen, this has been a one-sided series. Houston has dominated the Jacksonville Jaguars, even when the Jaguars were good a couple of years ago. And they've won 12 of the last 14 meetings. They have won 7 straight on the Jacksonville Jaguars home turf, but I don't think they can get the job done today. And when you look at this line, Jacksonville is only a 1.5 point favorite. What did the Jaguars do in week number 1? They beat Carolina with ease, 26-10 at home. And then last week, they had that game in hand at Cincinnati. And then they end up losing it in the closing minutes, 31-27. What has Houston done? Nothing. They lose, 1914 or 1912 on the road to the Rams. And then Monday night, they collapse in the closing minutes and end up losing to the comeback kid, Baker Mayfield, and the Tampa Bay Bucks. Their offense has been pathetic. You look at this Houston team, and they are no different than they were a year ago. And by the way, that was a 14-9 final to the Rams, 20-10, 19 home loss to the Bucks. They only had 266 total yards against Tampa Bay on Monday night. And now they're on a short week on the road off the Monday night game. The defense is good, especially the pass rush. But the offense, they've got some real big issues. Last year, that offensive line was dreadful. So they tried to rebuild it, right? They brought in some new talent. Well, they gave up 54 sacks last year. Well, so far, CJ Stroud is not getting any better protection. Hell, the Bucks hit him 6 times and sacked him 3 times. The Rams hit him 7 times and sacked him 3 times. The offensive line has allowed 25 pressures, and Stroud himself has been sacked 5 times in 2 games, or 6 times in 2 games. So, it's just not working. Nick Chubb, yeah, he had the one big run against Tampa on Monday night, but he's just a shell of himself since that devastating knee injury a couple of years ago. And without Joe Mixon, they don't really have a productive ground game. Their receiving core, name me one good receiver they have after Nico Collins. This is an offense that's just mediocre at best. So I think that today, where you are going to have winds 17 to 20 miles per hour, you may have a chance of precipitation. There's like a 45% chance of thunder showers in Jacksonville throughout the game today. So that, I think, plays into the hands of the Jaguars here, who, if they're able to run the ball, that keeps the pressure off of Trevor Lawrence, who's off to a pretty good start. And listen, you look at how the Rams and the Buccaneers had success running the ball here against Houston, and I think that's pretty good. And plus, you look at this Jacksonville offensive line, their fifth in run block win rate at nearly 76%. And Travis Etienne, 214 yards, 7.1 yards per carry. The run game has averaged almost 170 yards in the first 2 games. So again, this is one of those situations. You put the streaks out of your mind. You don't let it influence you, and you just look at the two teams and which one is better. Jacksonville. And why is that line 1.5? Because the streaks have influenced the line, and because Houston is 0-2, and I call it suspension of disbelief. Oh, the Texans can't start the season 0-3, can they? I say they can, because this isn't a very good team. It's just a poorly constructed team, especially offensively. So I'm riding with Jacksonville here. FYI, if you don't want to miss another video, you can always hit that little subscribe button down there in the corner. It's the easiest way to always be alerted as to when I will be here with my smiling face and unshaven face, because I just didn't give a damn at 5 o'clock in the morning. Okay, let's talk about the Green Bay game with Cleveland. Uh, this is a difficult game. I think it's going to be one of those grinder games for the Packers, because Cleveland's offense sucks, but the Browns' defense is still good. Yes, I know that the Browns gave up a ton of points to Baltimore last week in that 41-17 loss, but they held the Ravens to 242 net yards. Problem with the Browns is offensively, they just can't get a damn thing going with Joe Flacco. And 3 interceptions already total. But you look, they've got the number one run defense, giving up just 45.5 yards per game, 92 total yards they've allowed on the ground in 2 games, right? They held Derrick Henry to 23 yards and 11 carries in that Ravens game last week. Problem with the Browns, however, defense, 0 takeaways in 2 games. The other problem, the Browns have been a money burner. They've only covered 7 of their last 22 games. Now, is it a trap game for the Packers? Who do they play next week? The Cowboys. Oh, Micah Parsons going back to Dallas. Yeah. But then again, I look at this Packers road opener, 17-3 against the spread in the first 3 weeks of the season since 2019. My God, is that the best record in the NFL? I didn't take the time to research it, but I got to think it is. And that's what the Packers have done. And they had the extra prep time because they played Thursday night. 27-13 over the Lions in week number 1, 27-18 over Washington in week number 2, and they outgained the Commanders 411 yards to 263. Jordan Love has looked good. The defense with Parsons, 4 sacks in each of the first 2 games. I don't think Josh Jacobs is going to be able to get much running room against the Cleveland defense. But Jordan Love, he's played well. 66% completions, 480 yards, 4 touchdowns so far. And the price is right. Now, I've seen this price anywhere from 7.5 at the majority of books up to 8.5. Gee, this is why you've got to have two different books to play at. I would go ahead and take the Packers, and of course, I'm going to go ahead and take them down from 7.5, 5.5 point down in this particular case. I think Green Bay is also an outstanding teaser possibility. I have looked up and down the board today, and I can't find another team to recommend to tease them with. So you're on your own there. Problem with today's card, there's quantity, there is not quality. A, because you have so many teams starting backup quarterbacks, and B, there's some damn tough matchups. I know a lot of you will probably write in, hey, Al, who do you like in the Eagles-Rams game? I have no effing clue. I gave you the Eagles last week against Kansas City. Isn't that good enough? Don't ask me this week. I don't know. I have no clue. And in all these games where you got backup quarterbacks starting with the Bengals, the Jets, the Vikings, the Commanders, I don't know. They're tough, tough games. Oh, the 49ers is another situation. Again, these are the only two games outside of my top play on the Broncos and the Chargers where I really had an opinion today. So again, of these two plays with Jacksonville and the Packers, Jacksonville would be number one, Packers would be number two. And let's look to wrap up this weekend with another winner just as good as Virginia last night. Another team, by the way, where I stuck to my guns and looked for the value on the card. And again, the beautiful thing about Saturdays, whether it's college football or college basketball, when you have a plethora of games, you concentrate the most where the odds makers concentrate the least. Yes, Miami of Florida was an easy win over Florida in a marquee game, but sometimes it's just so much easier to find that value in the under the radar games. You just don't have that luxury sometimes in the NFL. Good luck, everybody, and talk to you again soon and wish you well. Take it easy, guys.